All right, well, the Detroit Tigers have lost 4 straight ball games now as they get absolutely dismantled by the Philadelphia Phillies on Monday night. Let's talk about it all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Tuesday, June 6th, 2023. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time, download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All righty. Well, as I said, the Detroit Tigers lose 8-3, the hands of the Philadelphia Phillies in Philly on Monday night. Some people might laugh at this or think that it's funny or think that I'm stupid, which is all fine. This was legitimately the first time all year that when watching a baseball game, I thought I was in a time machine and it actually felt like last season. This was the first one for me, personally. This was the first. And I know the Rays series was awful, and I know we just got swept in Chicago and scored like 3 runs in 3 games. I understand. But as far as a single game, like feeling, this was truly the first one where I was like, I don't know where the offense is going to come from to even make this a remotely competitive baseball game. And I guess it wasn't a remotely competitive baseball game. I don't, from literally the first inning, I don't think there was any doubt for anyone on the planet that the Phillies were not going to win this ball game pretty comfortably. And I guess the offense didn't really show up. They had one good swing as a team, got no hit through 6. So I guess pretty justifiable feeling, but like this was really the first one. And like we'll talk about the pitching in a second, because that's kind of different. Like last year's team wasn't awful because the pitching was awful. This was really the first one that I was like, man, this just feels like a game in which we are going to do absolutely nothing. And that's pretty close to what happened. All right, well, I got my itinerary here these days, so I can't just kind of start wherever. But let's start with Joey Wentz. Talk about the pitching in this ball game. Joey Wentz. Oh, Joey Wentz. You trouble me so. So Joey went 4 2/3, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 5 walks, and 4 strikeouts, 2 homers against. Certainly not dominating the strike zone there. More walks than strikeouts. He's got just about a 7.5 ERA on the season now. So the frustrating thing with Joey Wentz in this specific ball game was that there was, hear me out, I'm not trying to convince you that this was a good outing. No one should do that. He really, really struggled. He put the ball over the heart of the plate pretty much the entire outing. Not trying to convince you it was anything but bad. That being said, there were a couple of sequences and specific pitches and moments in this outing where you were like, wow, if he could just do that for an entire outing, we wouldn't be here right now. We'd be talking about a much different story. And we'd be talking about a dude whose ERA is a whole heck of a lot lower than 7.49 in June, leading the team in starts. So it's frustrating. That kind of stuff really, really frustrates me. And I'm sure it's frustrating to him too, because he is going out there and there will be like 4 batters a game where you're like, wow, he diced him up. The cutter looked really good there. He had 9 swings and misses on his cutter in this ballgame. 9. That's a lot. Especially only in 4 2/3. That's a heck of a lot. But it got put in play 7 times. 2 of those 7, the ball was sent into literal orbit. So like it's really I guess I'm just going to keep using the word frustrating because I can't think of one that really better depicts the feeling that I have and that I'm sure he has. But there was a couple of moments where I thought he tunneled the four seam and the cutter really well. I thought he got ahead with the curveball. He had at one point Bryce Harper out on his front foot throwing the curveball a couple of times. Got a couple swings and misses on that. He had 14 swings and misses in 4 2/3. That's a really solid number. And again, 9 of those 14 on the cutter, the pitch that really turned his whole career around in the minor leagues. That pitch had a 34% CSW percentage. None of the rest of the pitches had good CSW percentage. But the cutter, solid. It's just when he misses right down the pipe, dog. It is on a platter. Like tuck your napkin in your shirt collar on a platter. It's remarkable. He just seems to have no ability to consistently throw shadow pitches, right? Like right on the edge there. If you broke the strike zone down into 3 categories that were hard of the plate, edge pitches that are either right on the black or just inside the strike zone or just outside the strike zone, and then chase pitches / non-competitive pitches that are way out of the zone. It feels like everything it's a sandwich. Everything is either the hard of the plate or way out of the zone. Nothing is on the black. And like the 5 batters that he was able to put the cutter on the edge pitches on the corner of the zone and put it where he wanted, he got some swings and misses, and he got ahead in some counts. And he looked halfway decent for about 2 minutes. But just collectively as a whole, obviously, has not been able to do that on like even consecutive hitters, it feels like nonetheless, outing to outing. So very, very frustrating start yet again for Joey Wentz. I don't know what to tell y'all. Like I don't think there's anyone coming. Like I don't think they're gonna rush development of a pitcher that down in the minors just to fill his spot. Oh my goodness, what a disaster. The guy on our team who leads the team in starts has a 7.5 ERA. Half of the lineup has an OPS under 600 and a batting average under 200. We have no innings from your starting rotation. It's tough. Things got thin real quickly. This team really lacked depth, clearly. And here we are. Okay, let's move on to the bullpen in this game. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about Joey Wentz. Nothing revolutionary, nothing that we haven't talked about before. Just unfortunately an on-brand Joey Wentz start. The bullpen, Mason Englert goes 2 innings. He gives up 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. His ERA is now over 5. And then Chasen Shreve goes 1 1/3, 2 strikeouts, no earned runs to his name. However, actually, no hits, no runs, whatever. So, Chasen Shreve, whatever, his ERA is under 5 now. I think they're going to continue using him as a specialist type of reliever. The big conversation I want to have here is Mason Englert. April went really well for Mason Englert, and he had a couple of really, really good outings, and he proved that he can go multiple innings. And this team, I'm going to say it again, has desperately needed innings. But lately, it has not been going very well. And we're going to talk about that really in terms of the entire bullpen right after I tell y'all about our friends over at Game Time. Talking about Game Time yet again. They are the definition of clutch. I tell you guys that all the time because you don't have to plan months in advance. You can just get deals on tickets right up to the day of the event and get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and so much more. You can also get images of the seat before you buy so you know what you're getting. You can buy the ticket in a matter of seconds. 2 taps, you're all set. Boom. You don't have to dig through your wallet, your purse, dig through your email on your phone. They're just sent straight to it, just through the app, and it's very, very convenient and very, very clutch. So you can snag all the tickets you want without the stress at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, you can create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2 of Locked On Tigers. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers. That's what I was going to say. That do tune in every single day. Tomorrow, we will be talking about Game 2, a bullpen day for your Detroit Tigers. And that's part of what I wanted to talk about. We're going to talk about it a little bit more in depth later, but this bullpen outside of Foley and Lang, I know Lang had his one bad outing in Chicago, but that is just an isolated one bad outing until it isn't, right? So for now, we're going to continue under the assumption that Lang and Foley are going to keep continuing doing what they've been doing. The rest of the bullpen has slowly been taking a step back for a little while now. Mason Englert has had a really rough last 3 weeks, I want to say. Chasen Shreve, again, ERA is around 5 on the year. Will Vest, who the first 2 or 3 weeks after he got called up was absolutely fantastic. The last couple of weeks has very slowly started giving up more and more base runners, giving up inherited runners, giving up his own runners. Jose Cisnero, as much as I have somewhat defended him against like the people that say he's like the worst reliever they've ever seen in their lives, that doesn't mean I think he's like a great high leverage reliever. His FIP and his projective stats are like double his ERA. Like that certainly seems like some sort of a ticking time bomb. It's not great. It's not great. I don't know. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Again, like this offense is in heck. This starting rotation, there is no fifth starter, and they don't get any innings out of the other 4 that they do have. And now the bullpen, outside of your back 2 workhorses, has slowly been stepping back for a little bit now. And here we are in June. Injuries galore on top of all that. Obviously, the biggest reason why we are here. So, Mason Englert, just someone to keep an eye on. I don't have like some fix. I mean, the biggest thing at the major league level for him, if you're unaware and maybe missed the shows that we've talked about it, like the biggest thing for him at the major league level is he doesn't have a very good fastball. His secondary stuff plays. He's got decent stuff. But it's really hard to be an effective major league pitcher when you don't have a good fastball to set up all of your secondary pitches, because then they're not secondary pitches. Then you just have slow primary pitches. And so that's his biggest thing. It has been really this entire time. It's just he was able to overcome it early on, and it's catching up to him now. So we'll see if he makes adjustments there. We'll see what the team decides to do with him going forward. But it's just everything. They were really holding everything together there for a while, and now it just slowly feels like everything's kind of. It's like a rope in a cartoon that's getting pulled really tight, and you see like each individual string pluck, 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 and then it gets to like one really thin strand, and you're like, oh, this rope's about to snap. That's what this reminds me of. A giant rope in whatever cartoon you're thinking of, pulling like a train or something. It's not great. Okay, so we've talked about that. Let's talk about the offense, because we love talking about great news here. Aaron Nola is really good at his job, and this outing was not necessarily a surprise. Nola hasn't been fantastic this year. They haven't. I don't think the Phillies have gotten the production that they have. I don't want to say wanted, because it's not like he's been awful, but he's got an ERA a little bit over 4, right, going into this outing, and absolutely sliced and diced the Detroit Tigers. 7 innings, 1 hit, 3 runs, 0 of them earned because of the error beforehand. 3 walks, 12 strikeouts, and then obviously the 1 home run against. Yeah. Yeah. The first 5 innings were just hilariously bad. There was not even any remotely competitive at-bats. There were a couple of dudes working counts, Nick Maton being one of them. He obviously hit the home run. He hit it on a breaking ball. That's incredible. Love to see an adjustment. We live for adjustments here. Love it. Okay? Hit an absolute nuke. Destroyed a breaking ball. Heck yeah. Okay? That's legitimately, I'm not being sarcastic. That's awesome. So that's his first home run on a non-fastball pitch the entire season. If you were to break down every pitch into 3 categories, fastball, off-speed, and breaking ball, that is his first homer on a non-fastball all year. And it's on his second extra base hit on a non-fastball all year. And it was an absolute tank. Awesome to see against Philadelphia and all that. I'm sure that felt great for him. Also, he got absolutely screwed out of a strike, literally a pitch prior. That was a check swing. That was not a swing. He did not even remotely go. So glad that he was able to overcome that and hit the homer. Outside of that, okay, we talked about the one good thing. Just non-competitive at-bats top to bottom. You had 2 pitch clock violations, which, while frustrating, were also masterclasses by Aaron Nola. Did I call him Austin Nola earlier? Aaron Nola. Just such a pro. Like, you watched him out there, and he's using the pitch clock to his advantage. He knows that the hitter has to be ready by 8 seconds. He doesn't have to be, quote unquote, ready by any seconds. He just has to throw the ball before the clock hits 0. So what he would do is just not even stand on the rubber. He's standing behind the rubber, just, trying to get a grip on the ball, rubbing it a little bit, looking in for some signs, not even set, literally not even, doesn't have even a foot on the rubber. It's just standing on the mound, but the pitch clock's going. And the hitter is looking at the pitcher and going, okay, well, he's not even close to ready. Clearly, I don't have to get ready yet. Boom, the Tigers get 2 pitch clock violations on them in one game, which has not been a talking point all season for the Tigers. There are some teams that it took a long time to adjust to the pitch clock and have been getting kind of dinged on those periodically throughout the season. The Tigers have had very little of that. We have not come on here and talked really at all about that being a big deal for the Tigers offense. This game, it certainly was. And it wasn't because they forgot about the pitch clock. It wasn't because of any crazy thing. It was Aaron Nola. He played them like a fiddle. And it worked beautifully. Very, very well done. Hat off. Seriously. Tip of the cap. It was very enjoyable to watch, even though it was against my baseball team. I thought it was brilliant mind games being played, and he did an excellent job executing it. And I would imagine he is going to do that a lot more to a lot more teams, and we'll see if it continues to work. Eventually, it won't because people will just know. But that was really, really well done by him. And the Tigers fell for it twice in a ball game, Eric Haas and Andy Ibanez. But on top of all that, just again, completely uncompetitive ABs. He completely sliced you. There's no revolutionary thing I'm going to tell you about this offense in this game that is going to open your eyes as to why they struggled so much in this game. Just look at the lineup. Again, we did this exercise yesterday. We'll do it again today. Javi Baez, 572 OPS. Spencer Torkelson, 672 OPS. Nick Maton, 619. Jonathan Scope, pinch hit late, 534. Eric Haas, 581. Miguel Cabrera, 512. Andy Ibanez, 517. Jake Marisnik, 423. Tyler Nevin, pinch hit late, 400. Those were OPSs on your baseball team today. And we're going around going, one of the best pitchers in baseball dominated against that lineup? Shocking. It's the least surprising thing ever. I don't have any revolutionary analysis as to why it is. This is just not a very talented lineup at the moment. things hit the fan real quick. All right. Let's keep talking about it. I do want to talk about Zach McKinstry a little bit because he got a hit and a walk in this game. He's still the greatest baseball player to ever live. But there's something I tweeted out earlier today, and I want to kind of talk about on the show a little bit because it's just an adjustment that he is going to have to make. We'll talk about that right after I tell y'all about our friends over at BetterHelp. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's so easy to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you and never take a moment to think about what you need from yourself. But when we spend all of our time giving, it can leave us feeling stretched out and burned out. Therapy can give you the tools that you need to get more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. Obviously, I end every show with going to therapy's dope. I'm a huge advocate for it. I've been going myself for 5 years now, and I still go every single week. It's something that has helped and changed my life dramatically, and I recommend it to everybody who will listen to me talk. So definitely nothing new on my end as far as where I stand with therapy, but BetterHelp is a great resource for you if you are looking to start therapy. So give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to fit your schedule. You can just fill out a brief questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Find more balance with BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB, and you can get 10% off of your first month as well. That's 10% off at BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. So, interesting thing I want to point out with Zach McKinstry here. Okay, we're going to try new technology. I will say what we're looking at out loud for those who are listening on audio only and not watching on YouTube. I don't know if this is even going to work. Okay, well, good start. So, we're going to Baseball Savant, and we're going to go Zach McKinstry. Okay. And we are, oh, there's our ball game. Didn't go very well. So Zach McKinstry, this is beautiful, right? This is great. Not striking out a ton, walking a boatload, putting the ball in play all the time, barreling up the baseball. He's been a good defender. Like, what can't he do? This is absolutely a beautiful Baseball Savant page. Now, if we go down here to zones, we get some interesting charts that we can digest. Okay. So when looking at these charts, these are really the ones that we want to. Can I zoom in? Oh, I can. Bang. These are really the ones we want to focus on here. Okay. So, is there one over here? No. Okay. So, really, what I have up on the screen right now for those listening is a strike zone heat map. And there's 5 of them. And all of them represent a different thing. One is just total pitches he's seen in each one of the zones. One is swinging percentage by zone for him. One is just total swings by zone. But then at the end, we have strikeout percentage by zone and whiff percentage by zone. I want you to tell me if anything jumps out at you. It should, at the bottom here, the bottom of the zone, not actually below the bottom of the zone. So the 2 zones that are below a low strike, that are balls low, like bouncing on home plate all the way up to just underneath the shins, all of that area is obviously a ball. If you cut that in half, you get outside low balls and inside balls that are low. Now, 45% K rate here on balls that are low and away out of the strike zone, and 62% K rate on strikes low and in for a ball. Whiff percentage, same exact thing, 41% and 42%. Comfortably the most whiffed on strike zone that he has, and comfortably the highest K rate zone that he has. He's not swinging and missing at balls in the strike zone. Look at not low and up and away, rather, a little bit there on either of these. But for the most part, all of his swings and misses and all of his strikeouts are coming on these pitches, which are low, below the strike zone. So, and most of those are going to be breaking balls, right? You see a lot of curveballs down here to him. And in the last 4 or 5 games has just been something that I've noticed. And when going on Savant, it backs up that theory. So that's an adjustment that he's going to have to make, or that's going to make its way around the league, right? We saw it with Nick Maton very, very early on, right? Like he was hitting the ball decently well. He never had a high average, really. But you were like, oh, he's getting walks. He's hitting the ball for power, whatever. The San Francisco Giants thing happened. And then the batting average got even worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And now we're talking about it's like a celebration is in order for him hitting a home run on a breaking ball for the first time all year in June. So that's just something that Zach McKinstry needs to make an adjustment on. Lay off the breaking balls that are low, okay? Lay off. Bullpen day tomorrow. I'm done talking about this game. That was an absolute disaster. I'm done talking about it. It was awful. It reminded me of last year. It made me sad. But today's game, as you're listening to this, is going to be a bullpen game. It sounds like Tyler Alexander is going to get the start. For sure. That's going to go a certain way, I'm sure. Garrett Hill was also recalled from AAA. Probably going to eat some innings at some point, especially if it gets out of hand early. Yeah. It's at a point now where I said it yesterday. They're going to have to prove people wrong, dog. They're going to have to prove people wrong. This is no longer the fun team in mid-May that was winning games and people were slightly optimistic about and was one game out of first place, even in an awful division. This is now like you have to prove me wrong type of mentality. Like I think a lot of people have taken a back seat now and are looking at this big picture and going, this has the potential to get bad really quickly. They've scored like no runs since Riley Green got hurt. That was almost a week ago, a little under a week ago already. Offense has been comfortably the worst in baseball since that injury, in pretty much any stat you can fathom. So, go prove people wrong. Tyler Alexander on the bump. He's got a 6.38 ERA as a reliever. I can't imagine he's going to go out there and eat a ton of innings. This is going to be a bullpen day. He might go through the lineup once, might go 2 innings, 3 innings, and then they'll kind of try to piece their way through the bullpen for the rest of the outing. And then on Wednesday, you have Reese Olson again, who's making his second career start against the Philadelphia Phillies, who, again, haven't even been great. They can't get hits with runners in scoring position either. I think they went 4 for 11 today, obviously, because they played the Tigers. But this team hasn't even been that great this year. They are well under 500 at the moment. But I'm just so tired of being everybody's get-right game. It's been 7 years of being every team in baseball's get-right game. And I'm just tired of it. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, okay? Not proclaiming anything about the season. We still have a very, very long way to go. But right now in the first week of June, this stretch of baseball they got ahead of them, it doesn't look great. And we'll see how it goes. We'll be here throughout all of it, though. We certainly will. Yeah, I think that's all I got. I think that's all I got today. I was kind of scatterbrained on this episode. I feel like I tried redoing the beginning a few times because I just felt like my brain was all over the place. But we're gonna roll with it. I think that there's still some. I think it went fine. Man, this team just completely the wind just went out of the sails so quick, eh? Let's try to get it back. All right. Let's try to get the wind back in the sails. Let's try to get some momentum back. A win or two against this Phillies team would go a long way. Then you have a win or two going into an off day legitimately would go a long way. You go into the weekend, coming back home, winning a few ball games. Let's have some optimism, eh? Enough of this Debbie Downer stuff. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. I appreciate you all, especially the people that do tune in every single day. We'll be back tomorrow recapping this bullpen day against the Philadelphia Phillies. That's all I got. I appreciate y'all. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I'll catch y'all then, baby. Go Tigers. Where is my cool video? There it is.